Greetings, dear ones. I am Cryon of Magnetic Service. For those listening, we are together, all of us, floating in the Sea of Galilee. It is a beautiful place, filled with the kind of history that is all over this land. Indeed, it would seem that you cannot step very far before you step literally into some kind of history. The masters walked this place, so many of them, and they all taught the one God. You have heard us talk about this over and over. Now, we have a letter for today, and we have some teaching. And oh yes, it will be controversial. The letter is S. And S will stand for the soul. Now we're going to reveal some things we have not spoken of before. I'm going to say this to you, that many years we have waited to present information at a place where it happened. And there is another attribute. None of you right now are grounded. This creates something for perception, consciousness of spirituality, and even teaching. Things happen on the water. Look at that which you call Scripture. How many things happened on the water? Many. And this is not just a metaphor. For when you float, you are not connected to the land. It does make a slight difference. So we're going to talk now about the soul. The soul is probably one of the most complex subjects we could ever discuss. First, it is not linear. Now, what we mean by that is that a linear mind, as a human has, tends to have a thought process that is in a straight line. Logic is this way. Survival is this way. Business is this way. You live your lives day by day by using consciousness, which is for the most part linear. When you become multidimensional, it's when you start having the kinds of visions and the metaphors that you're studying in this land. The soul is a multi-dimensional part of the human being. It carries the piece of God, that is the section of God. In the soul, there is also the attributes of the Akashic record of every human being. When you pass away corporally, the soul leaves that body. You go from being partly multidimensional and partly 3D to fully multidimensional. Now here is where many belief systems vary. Some have the soul as a part that never returns to the planet. Some have the soul going into judgment. And the judgment would then send the soul one place, another, perhaps even another. But what was the original intuition of organized religion on the planet? Let us go back more than 9,000 years. What was the initial thought? At the time where there were many God potentials, a time literally before the Jews put it together and gave the earth a monotheistic, beautiful creator. What was the original thought? What the Hindus and the Buddhists will say is that they were first. This is their perception. But what they believed was this, that the soul is forever, that it comes and goes from this planet in a circle, that there is a reason for this, and they may even call it lessons, that the more the human being visits the earth, the more they learn. And they will then come back with something called energy or karma or information and continue a path that lasts eons and eons and eons. We are returning to that belief. This is the way of it. Most of you feel that you have lived before. Some of you are relating to the dirt of the earth. You're not on it right now, so you can relate to it differently. Reflect. Water is a reflective energy. It's time to reflect on who you've been. Now, the entire reason for this lesson is for the next statement that comes. There are several things we wish to tell you about the soul, which we have told you before, and one thing we have never told you. The soul carries your Akash. When you come back to this planet, the Akash comes with you. No matter what culture, no matter who you are, no matter what gender, the Akash past life report and record comes with you. We have stated before that this is complex, for it's not always the chemical lineage. You can have one chemical lineage with your parents and another Akashic lineage from another land. We're not going to dwell on that. We're going to dwell on something else. Your soul inside you is always connected to God. We spoke yesterday of Elijah. What you got to see in his ascension was the exposure of the grandness of his soul. Elisha reported some shapes, and we told you that. By the way, these shapes were seen again later by the prophet Ezekiel. The shapes are common, and they mean the same thing. They are the circle and the purity of the soul. 26 years ago, we made a statement. The statement is controversial. It was not understood then, it is not understood now, and there are many who said, well, that's just what Kryon says, it couldn't be true. Let me tell you, because now we can reveal it. The soul of the Jew does not reincarnate as anything but a Jew. It is the only culture, the only lineage that has this attribute. And here's how it works. If you have the pure lineage, that is to say, a Jew in every cell, not part, you have reincarnated again and again and again and again as a Jew. There isn't any other group, whether it's cultural or race or belief, that has this pure lineage Akashic attribute. When we first said it, there were many who literally walked away from Kryon. This cannot be so, for there is no reason. Oh, yes, there is. I want you to use your logic with me for a moment. Spiritual logic. The same logic of the Hindu. If you come in to any kind of school and you learn and you learn and you learn, you start to go up the ladder of knowledge, of experience. And the longer you attend the one school and the one course, the better you get at what you're learning. The Jews had to have this lineage to bring the world into a monotheistic God. This is the attribute that allowed them to stay in the same attributes of Akash. When they were born back on earth, literally, their consciousness would breathe and say, "Here I am again." The same language, the same culture, the same laws, the same rules, over and over and over. They became very good at what they did. Is there any question why? There are billions and billions of people on this planet who has a belief system that came right from here. A special kind of human was needed in groups to put it together and give it to the planet the way they did. It has isolated them. It has made them different in perception to many cultures. And again, I say they've paid the price for this. But they're good at what they do. Is it inappropriate for you to look around the planet and see that the largest organizations in business are run by the Jews? They know what they're doing. They've been there. They've done that. They reincarnate yet again and learn more. If you really want to be inappropriate, there are those that have even said, Jews put the Jew in jewelry. They know what they're doing. Now here is what I've never said before. It's going to take a special kind of an Akashic human being to create peace on earth. The shift of energy that was expected is here. It affects all humanity. It affects consciousness. The precession of the equinoxes was not just a date. The Mayan calendar was correct. A new energy is upon you. New information is being delivered to the planet. Consciousness is starting to change, and you'll see it first in the young people. Dear ones, the Jews are different. They have a pure Akash. Thousands and thousands of lifetimes of being in the same culture has given them something. The same thing that brought together the planet and taught them about one God is the same attribute and talent to organize humanity for peace. This is their task. It would seem unbelievable as you look around that such a thing could come from here with such diversity, such frustration, so many belief systems. This is why they need that which they have, the ability to multitask, to organize, to pull together. It's going to come from here. This is the prophecy I will give, that there is no other country that can do this but this one. It started here. It's going to continue here. You will see. People will say, Krein, is it going to happen in my lifetime? Of course you will be here. Maybe not in this lifetime. But it's happening even now. Watch social media. The enemies that surround Israel are starting to change. And what is starting to change is not in their seniors. It's in their kids. The young people are going to create a brand new kind of association between countries. I used a different word because the paradigms of peace are going to start shifting with new ideas of what can happen. How can you put together so many things that are unequal in so many ways? And you sit and say it cannot be done. The young people will be doing it, led by the Jews. That is today's message as you float upon the Sea of Galilee. And so it is.